Hi, this is Country Kim and my faithful companion Trooper. You say hi, Trooper? Yeah, hi. Anyways, we're coming to you from a hobby farm here in the St. Croix River watershed area, the border between Minnesota and Wisconsin. And this beautiful area here, the St. Croix River, is actually a national park, part of the Wild and Scenic Rivers Act many years ago. So we value water quality here in the St. Croix River area. But it's been under some threats lately, so we've been watching very carefully what's going on, because it's not only been a threat to just the wildlife, it's a threat to the humans and a threat to our pets. Right, Trooper? We got to have clean water for pets too, and livestock. So let's take a little road trip to our old stomping grounds. Trooper remembers those days, don't ya? Over in Emerald, Wisconsin. We lived there for 20 years on a hobby farm there. Let's check out what's going on in Emerald, because it's very concerning and we need to pay attention to what's going on. Hey folks, this is Country Kim. I'm out here in my own stomping grounds in Emerald Township in northeastern St. Croix County, Wisconsin. My husband and I lived here for about 20 years. In northwest Wisconsin here, we're just across the St. Croix River from the Twin Cities and Minnesota, in an area called affectionately Minnesconsin, or Winnesota, depending on which side of the river you live on. But I'm bringing you here today in the cold to talk about clean drinking water in rural America. Most folks I know, they love the taste of natural rural well water, especially over the taste of city water. It's one of the reasons why a lot of folks live out here. However, after decades of intensive agriculture, our water quality is not what it used to be in rural America. Case in point here at the town hall in Emerald. Nitrates have contaminated the drinking water. Now, most people think that nitrates is only a pregnant woman thing or small child thing, but actually recent studies all around the Midwest have shown that various cancers can also be tied back to high nitrates in drinking water. When this town hall was built 15 years ago, the nitrates in the well here were just at 6.9. And that was below the health standard, the maximum of 10 parts per million. However, the tests that have been done lately over the past few months here have been registering in the mid-40s for nitrates, 4 times the health maximum here in just 15 years' time. And this didn't happen overnight. There's a graph here I'll show you showing the climb and what's been done over the past months with well testing. You'll notice on the graph that there's 2 major dips at the very end of 2021, and come to find out the township staff had done a major flushing of the system prior to the county coming in and testing the water. The county has since instructed them not to do that so that they can do their own flushing. But otherwise, you'll notice the steady increase in these rates over the years. Hi folks, sorry for the change in scenery. It was so cold out there. I think my fingers are still defrosting it, quite frankly. It was really very windy out there, a lot more than I expected. But I'm here in the she shed, and some of my paraphernalia, the aerial photos of our farm in Emerald that we had for 20 years. And so I'm coming to you today in order to be able to share with you a story that isn't getting a lot of coverage, and I think it's very important from a public health perspective. And that has to do with the nitrates that are going on at the town hall in Emerald. And as I explained earlier in the segment, they're in the mid-40s. And there was a story coming out of central Wisconsin about 3 years ago, a young woman who lost her baby at 22 and a half weeks because her nitrates in her drinking water had soared from, 15-ish or whatever up into the 30s. And she lost that baby due to a brain and spinal deformities and all other kinds of stuff going on. The baby wasn't going to be able to survive. Now, a little background, notice that if the Emerald Town Hall nitrates are in the 40s and this young woman lost her baby when her nitrates were in the 30s, and I think that's a huge concern that needs to be shared. And so how we got here was about 5 years ago. The industrial dairy that is across the road from the town hall was around 1,000 cows, or 1,600 cows at the time probably, got bought out by out-of-state producers. from Nebraska, and they were going to basically triple the size of the dairy. So 5 years ago, citizens in the neighborhood, obviously very concerned about their water quality, myself included at the time, and we went to the county board with a petition saying, do something to help us. And so what the county did was they put up a study committee together, and they studied the issue for 9 months, had all kinds of experts come in and give testimony. It came up with a list of, I think, 8 recommendations. I'll put those in the show notes below. And they're chipping away at that. You know, it's taken a while. But in the meantime, the town hall has still been having issues. The county is the one coming out to the town hall every month and testing the water and checking for the nitrate level and any presence of E. coli. So the county is monitoring it. The county also has recently done a nitrate source analysis study in conjunction with UW-Stevens Point and Kevin Masrick, for those of you who are familiar with him. And so the county has a very small sample size. They did not include the Emerald Town Hall in this sample size, note to self. But in the other samples around the county, what they were finding was that 90% of the nitrates that are contaminating the groundwater are coming from agricultural sources. That's feedlots, field runoff, you name it. It's not coming from golf courses. It's not coming from septic systems. The majority, 90%, is coming from agriculture, which makes sense in the sense that that's what a lot of the land in the eastern part of the county and the central and eastern part of the county is used for, is agriculture. So that doesn't raise a red flag, and that study is actually consistent with other studies around the state in similar areas. So while it was all good and well and good that the town board put in the reverse osmosis system at the town hall here, so you can drink the water at the town hall, it doesn't alleviate the problem in the groundwater, because there's about 100 some families that live within I would say a 3-mile radius of that town hall. And they all drink groundwater. There's no city water. There's no official rural water system like they have in Iowa or in Southwest Minnesota. This is just what's happening to the groundwater out there. So this affects everybody. This affects more than just the folks at the town hall. And in fact, there's a couple other town halls just north and west of Emerald that are having similar issues with either E. coli or with nitrates. So this is not a one-off. This is not an exception to the rule. This is a widespread problem in the northeastern part of St. Croix County. And so in 2019, the governor of Wisconsin declared it the year of clean drinking water. And he put out a notice to the legislature. They held a whole bunch of public hearings, about 9 of them across the state. Hundreds of people testified, myself included. And they came up with a list of 13 bills of legislation to actually help improve water quality. It passed the assembly overwhelmingly, but it died in the state Senate, and it didn't go anywhere. And so nothing has changed. And so folks around the state who have this concern have obviously been petitioning whoever they can find to talk to, and ourselves included. And we've gone to the EPA, we've gone to the Army Corps of Engineers about wetlands, we've gone to a lot of other places. And everybody defers back to the DNR, okay? So we talked to the DNR. So the DNR announced last month that the process is too convoluted. I'll show you a graph of what's been put out there. And I've been told it's even more convoluted than what the graph really shows. But they're not going to implement any new rules to help with the nitrate contamination in groundwater around the state. They've kind of stepped back from the issue, which is unfortunate because in the state of Wisconsin, at least, the DNR is where the buck stops when it comes to water quality, whether that's rivers, streams, lakes, groundwater, anything. And they've backed away. And that was like a punch in the gut. And that is not acceptable in my book. That they're supposed to be concerned about public health. And so, especially in light of what's happened, with that young woman in the Central Sands area losing her baby, we can't ignore nitrates, especially when they start getting above 30, 40, even 50 parts per million for nitrates. That's unacceptable. So what can we do about it? Well, most folks, start or keep talking to your legislative elected officials or whoever. But most importantly, if you live in a rural area, not just in Wisconsin, but any place in America, because this is not specific to Wisconsin. You need to test your water. You need to know where you're at. Nitrates are a silent stalker, and you don't see them. They don't smell different. They don't taste different. If you boil your water, it actually makes it worse. So it is something that needs to be addressed. So know where your water stands. Know if you have issues, and get your water tested. You can do that by calling your local plumber. There's usually some kind of test kits around that you could get from the local health department, maybe the local land conservation department at the county level or your township level. There are ways to get water tested, and it may cost you $50 to $100, but there are some subsidies out there. Sustain Rural Wisconsin, who's one of our partners, is offering like a $30 copay, so to speak, or something to that effect, to help you get a basic homeowner's package of your water tested. So it's just very important that folks go out and get this water tested and know where you're at. Knowledge is power. Don't put it off. Much more on what to do going forward. We'll be talking about how we got into this mess, how do we get out of this mess, and the stories of folks who are currently living in this mess right now. We need to have clean drinking water. That is not a Republican or a Democrat or an independent or whatever party you may happen to be associated with. That is not a political issue. Having clean drinking water should not be a political issue. My friend Jenny likes to say that the faucet on her kitchen sink doesn't say Republican or Democrat. Clean water is clean water, and we all need it to survive. You can hit the subscribe button below. We'll be uploading more content. If you want to learn more, I think you'll be inspired by some of the stories you hear. I think you'll be frustrated. I think you'll be surprised. We take our water for granted here in America. We just assume that somebody is watching the store, that somebody is keeping tabs on these things. And our experience in Emerald has been that is not the case. And I'm here to share our stories with you. Thank you. Over and out.